Well, I don't know if you know this or not by now. And I saw that post from Angel Reese or what I thought was Angel Reese or whatever I got told was Angel Reese about the white girl didn't want any of the fade or something like that. I thought it had to be a mistake. Somebody asked me about it and I said, no, surely to God she would not have even Angel Reese surely realizes not to repost something like that, right?
Welcome to the only venue where we analyze current events in sports without any filters, scripts, or excuses, where the truth resides. This is where we call things what they are, even when they are difficult, especially when they are uncomfortable. It is not the place for contrived stories or corporately sanitized comments.
Hell, I guess I was wrong. I guess she did. And so now that I'm really starting to look into this, I'm like, God, not only is this real, but you've got media members that actually do try to hold the WNBA to some kind of responsibility. They're talking about there's no room for hate, this and that and the other one. And you got a player that's blatantly advocating for violence against far and away your most popular player. All right, and bringing race into the situation.
We're delving into what may be the most significant dispute the WNBA has ever had today. It's not just about basketball, it's also about culture, racism, integrity, and what occurs when a league lets examine this. At the core of it are two rising stars, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and behind them is a league that is on the verge of becoming a caricature of itself. This organization that violates equity and justice is incapable or unwilling to enforce its own norms.
But this was put out right here. Again, hell, I thought it was fake originally. And I guess it's not. I mean, it's crazy. White girl running from the fade. There's Angel Reese right there. There's, of course, Caitlin Clark doing the responsible thing, not wanting to tank her public relations. Like Angel Reese walking away after the take foul the other night, or the other day against the Chicago Sky.
It all began with a single TikTok social media post that went viral and was captioned, "White girl running from the fade." The video shows a scene from a WNBA game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever, featuring Caitlin Clark, possibly the most well-known athlete in women's sports, had just received a severe blow, and instead of taking things further, she decided to leave and withdraw in order to save her name and stay out of trouble.
And I was like, again, somebody sent that to me, and I said, it's got to be fake. And I was like, nope, here's a video on TikTok right here. And that picture is in this video. And it was reposted by Angel Reese. And let me see if I have the ability there. I'm going to just turn that down because I don't want a copyright strike. But right there, there's the picture. And Angel Reese did, in fact, repost this on TikTok, it looks like, and share it. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Or are you kidding me? And the WNBA is going after and lecturing Indiana Fever fans in this investigation? Are you trying to tell me Angel Reese is not going to get suspended for this, not going to get fined for this? Or is the WNBA too gutless to stand up against things like this, even if it is against a white woman?
Now, in a normal environment, that would be regarded as admirable, the kind of level-headedness you'd want from a leader, but someone saw that as a chance to sow divisiveness, so they reframed the incident, made it into a meme, and added a caption implying that Clark was afraid of being a coward, essentially fleeing a physical altercation.
Right here, Angel Reese cries about racism that never happened, then goes on and reposts openly racist TikToks. This is why the WNBA is a joke. And not only allows, but encourages racism against white people. Well, it takes a step further here. Because my boy over at Outkick, Bobby Burack, who's a hell of a good journalist, did reach out to the WNBA. Right here, I asked the WNBA if they had a comment on Angel Reese's racist post on TikTok about Caitlin Clark. The league had no comment, nor would it address Reese suggesting she wants to fight Caitlin Clark. So much for, quote, zero tolerance for hate. You know, the WNBA is running an ad right now about, I think, the physicality of the league. And at some point, we just gotta ask the question: is this what Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA wanted? Is this what they wanted? Is all this drama, all this? I mean, I understand it's good for ratings. Maybe the commissioner's sitting back and she's secretly smiling about this or whatnot, but you're still targeting the fan base that's funding this whole thing in the Indiana Fever.
And one of the league's biggest names, Angel Reese, who has millions of fans and a huge public platform, reposted it. She didn't qualify it. She didn't deny it. She amplified it. And that's when everything changed. To fully comprehend the significance of this moment, you must comprehend who these players are. Caitlin Clark is a ratings powerhouse and a phenomenon, not just another rookie. Cultural lightning rod for the first time ever, she attracted more viewers to the women's NCAA championship than the men's final. She has packed stadiums all over the nation in a league that frequently had trouble filling 30,000-seat arenas prior to her arrival. She also brought in eyeballs, money, and an unprecedented level of visibility. Another powerhouse is Reese, who rose to fame during LSU's championship run and built a devoted following by controlling her voice and image. She is self-assured, polarizing, and marketable, and she represents a wave of young Black athletes taking back the narrative and defying social norms. So when Angel reposts a racist video that makes fun of Caitlin Clark, the symbolism goes beyond the immediate moment and reverberates throughout society, saying something much deeper. Additionally, the WNBA is making a statement by doing nothing about it, whether they are aware of it or not.
All right. They're the ones grabbing the ratings. They're the ones paying up for the tickets, even on the road. And I've got to wonder, are you going to start seeing more empty seats even at Caitlin Clark games? Because I can tell you this, just from what I can gauge, a lot of Fever fans are already sort of fed up. All right, they're already sort of fed up. And you could hear it from the crowd. The crowd said that Kathy Engelbert came over and lectured the crowd prior to the game the other day. How about at Kathy Engelbert? Does she have any comment? If the WNBA wants to be taken seriously, we should have transparency on these types of issues.
Let's dissect this. For many years, the WNBA has marketed itself as the League of Values, a league that promotes diversity and accountability. They also conduct ads promoting respect and preach it. When fans shout something deemed inappropriate, whether it's truly offensive or just inconvenient, the league launches an investigation. When critics question the narrative, they are labeled as bigots or misogynists. However, when a player with significant influence reposts something inflammatory, blatantly targeting another player and bringing race into the equation, the WNBA acts as though it never happened, is silent, takes no disciplinary action, and doesn't even issue a public warning. Nothing is leadership. It's cowardice masquerading as advancement.
The WNBA is officially having their Jussie Smollett Bubba Wallace hoax situation right here, right now. You're watching it. And there's other things going on like this being shared by Angel Reese. WNBA's turning a blind eye to it. Do they not realize, look, if you want to be taken as number one, if you want to keep all these new fans around, and you want to be treated like a real sports league, you've got to start taking things like this seriously and quit worrying about going after somebody because they made a crack about Brittany Griner being arrested in Russia. Sports fans are going to go after Brittany Griner over that. They're going to heckle her over that. I heard that yesterday and was like, are you kidding me? Fact, Brittany Griner got arrested in Russia for cannabis oil, which is illegal in Russia. You expect sports fans to not literally heckle her with that during a game? Have you ever been to a Raiders game, an Eagles game? You gotta be kidding me.
Let's act out this scenario in reverse. "Black girl can't handle the smoke" is the caption on a video that Caitlin Clark posted. You know exactly what would happen. There would be a week of coverage on social media by activists, and rightfully so, because that would be offensive, inflammatory, and deeply inappropriate. Why is it acceptable when the answer is uncomfortable? It's not acceptable, but some people pretend it is because they're afraid to challenge the double standard and fear being labeled racist. There would be a national outcry, innumerable think pieces, protests, demands for suspension, and brand deals would be pulled. Let's be clear that racism is racism, even when they are calling it out. The history of oppression and frustration do not justify racism. No matter the situation, attacking someone based solely on their race is not empowerment. And the WNBA must stop treating morality like a buffet where you can choose whatever suits your needs if it hopes to be respected as a professional league. Let's now discuss those who truly keep the fans informed. Fans of the Indiana Fever are among the most devoted and active in the WNBA. They travel, show up, and chant that they care. What do they receive in return in the form of warnings about rudeness and condescension? Before a recent game, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert allegedly spoke to the Fever supporters about their tone and behavior rather than encouraging them to cheer more or show love. This was during an investigation that was prompted by what now seems to be an entirely baseless accusation of racism. Meanwhile, Angel reposts offensive material on race and is not held responsible. You only need common sense to realize why this is an issue, and two.
Somebody, NBA Centel, which is a parody site, a satire site, shared a fake post about the WNBA banning booing. All right? At first glance, I saw it and was like, well, I can't believe it took them this long. And then I saw who posted it and was like, okay, good. But that just tells you it got a lot of people. That post, a lot of people thought it was real. Because at this point, we're expecting the WNBA to literally do something absurd like ban booing in a sports league.
Comprehend what occurs when supporters begin to feel humiliated by the league they support. You don't even need a degree in public relations. If this keeps up, there will be empty seats once more, even at Caitlin Clark games. That's how bad things may become. A joke best conveys the moment's ridiculousness. Yes, it's a joke. Recently, a satirical page published a phony headline. The reason why thousands of people thought the WNBA's decision to outlaw booing was serious was because it sounded like something the league would truly do, even though it was a joke or a parody. That is the extent to which the league has devolved. Satire has turned into prophecy, and the distinction between reality and absurdity has entirely vanished when people believe that your league would outlaw jeering, which is actually a part of the sport. You are no longer seen as a professional enterprise, but rather as a punchline. A show at a circus without a script, and if supporters begin jeering at you rather than supporting you, you're in big danger. Let's take a moment to discuss corporate sponsors not investing in chaos. Broadcasters don't pay top bucks for people who are tired of controversy. Merchandise partners don't want to be involved in unforeseen public relations disasters, and when a league makes it clear that it can't even regularly police its own code of conduct, it sends a strong message to those in charge. You can't trust us. Every company that collaborated with the WNBA due to its principles is now keeping a watchful eye on every instance of duplicity or inconsistency. Let's not forget that the WNBA operates under the NBA's umbrella. These teams are partially owned by NBA franchises, and their success or failure reflects back on the entire sport. If this spiral continues, it's not just a WNBA problem. It's a basketball problem, a brand problem. Cowardice erodes that foundation. If the WNBA loses the trust of its corporate partners, no amount of TikTok virality will save it. At what point does Adam Silver step in? Adam Silver must confront the difficult decision of whether he wants to be known as the commissioner who brought the global game to a wider audience, or as the one who stood by. The WNBA is at a historic crossroads where one path leads to growth, integrity, accountability, and respect, while the Women's League destroyed itself from within because Caitlin Clark attracted millions of new fans who had never seen a women's game in their lives. Now, those same fans are watching in disbelief as the league mishandles one crisis after another. If Silver cares about long-term sustainability, now is the time to act, not next season or after. The WNBA must decide not only about Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark, but also about who they are and who they want to be, because the harsh reality is that you can't have it both ways. You can't say zero tolerance for hate and then tolerate it when it fits your narrative. You can't reprimand fans and then excuse players. You can't position yourself as a league of values and then remain silent when those values are violated. You're either a real league or a political theater. You're either fair or you're fake.